Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Connected Live. As you can see, well, as you may not be able to see, but the little black patch right over here is Baldur. And Thor may come over into screen in a moment. But the reason I wanted to take this moment to do this Connected Live in my merino wool base layers. It was really cold here over the past couple days in Oklahoma, but awesomely so. We've had snow. The dogs have been having so much fun. And I just kind of wanted to take this time to, I promised everybody I would do a Connected Live on the change of Baldur's health and talk about a little bit about what dogs can actually do, like their sentience and stuff, and how, in particular, this dog, being incredibly complex, has handled some of his health issues within himself. So as many know, let me see if I can get him to sit up. Come on, baby, stand up. There's the old man. Come here. Can you get all the way in frame? Come here. I know. Come here. There he is. There he is. Baldur is 9 years old. He's an East German Shepherd. And I'm getting smooches. Oh, very rare smooches from Baldur. So he's very happy to give smooches. As a lot of people know, Baldur has had a very complicated health history. And it's almost left him passing on several times. There's Thor. Thor's always got to get in on all the activity. Let's see, if you could hang out, Baldur, that would be great so everybody can see you, sweetheart. There's Thor stretching. 2 German Shepherds. So Baldur is 9, Thor is 3. And Thor is our rescue and Baldur is our special needs. You just kind of missed it, but they were kissing each other. And despite having come from several different backgrounds, they really do love each other very much. We introduced them correctly. We got matched correctly through Rescue Me Incorporated, Joy Nadell. They decided to go back to the warmth of their beds. So Baldur's complexness comes from autoimmune disorder, digestive disorder, and a lot of other things that he's had, allergies, just clearly his immune system, his digestive system not being correct. And I have worked with some of the best veterinarians pretty much across the country because Baldur was born in Massachusetts, but then he came to me when I lived in Los Angeles and I worked with some of the top vets there. No one could figure him out. And then we moved back to Jersey and I got, again, one of the best vets in the country for holistic, Gloria Weintraub, who's a pioneer. And when he started to get a little bit worse as he got older, which is normal, kind of like with people, your situations are going to get a little bit more aggravated, a little bit more delicate as you get older, just because that's just the nature of aging, right? Baldur got more sensitive in New Jersey, and I took him to see Dr. Weintraub, and after about 40 minutes, and she is, like, again, a pioneer in the holistic DVM community, she just said, in all my years of veterinary medicine, I've never seen a dog this stubborn. He has rejected every single remedy I have tried to see would work for him. I think she went through 50. And basically it was Baldur saying, I can fix myself. I don't need your interference. And so, you know, Dr. Weintraub actually reiterated that. She said, no, your skills are not being blocked by him. He's basically, as an independent, sentient being, saying, I can handle this. I don't need for you to handle it. The thing is that as amazing as Baldur is as a dog, he couldn't handle it. And he progressively got sicker and sicker and sicker. And it was like you could see him struggling with it, but he wasn't going to overcome it. And so arriving here in Oklahoma, age catching up with him as well, he then went on a downhill slide 3 different times where we almost lost him. Sorry for my itchy nose and my itchy face, just hair everywhere. So we met Dr. McNeil here in Oklahoma, and Dr. McNeil said the same thing about him that every single vet has ever said about Baldur. What a complex case. What a complex dog. And so here we are. Last year, we really broke through and increased his health exponentially. And again, this veterinarian saying in anybody else's hands, this dog would be dead by now because he's so complex and he is so stubborn. So with that said, we found the right combination. Baldur let us in and agreed he needed help. So the last time I was there, he we noticed he had two little things the size of eraser heads, one on the bottom of his paw, one at the base of his tail, and then he needed his teeth cleaned. Not really badly, but he kind of was showing the need for it. And so we decided we'll wait till winter when his immune strength is completely up, because his autoimmune issues go down because the cold weather helps him. Well, every time we'd planned to bring him in, his energy level, his chi, his strength would go down. And so finally, about on the third phone call, on the third, time that we rescheduled, I said, I think he's saying he doesn't need it. And I feel strongly about it. And I said, but yet he wants to come in for his appointment. So he doesn't want surgery. He doesn't want anesthesia. He's saying absolutely not. But he wants to come in for his appointment, meaning I figured he needed acupuncture for his hip. And he wanted that kind of special attention. So we organized it so that we could take him by himself to Dr. McNeil and leave Thor home with Robert. And Balder was so happy to have the trip all about him. And so we got there and we did the social distancing thing. And so I'm going to show, the whining you're hearing is Thor. He likes to sleep in between the beds, but the two of them want to be acknowledged. So Balder's making little faces, which I think are relevant to, doing this. So here we are. I'll share the corner of the screen. So Dr. McNeil, we did a phone call, and we did, we did speakerphone, so that we were doing the social distancing thing. And she just started laughing and said, "You're absolutely right." She said, he is better than he was the past 3 times when we've had to reschedule the surgeries. He doesn't want the surgery. He definitely wanted acupuncture. And we did a special form of acupuncture for him to help his immune system, his digestion, the allergies, and the arthritis, because he's a little bit older. He's 9 now. It's a T-Relief or Traumeel in liquid form with B12. This is the vocal boy of the group. I'll explain him in a second. He's always talky. So we do, in his particular acupressure points, we do the B12 and the Traumeel, which is a homeopathic remedy for pain and inflammation. Really works well with dogs and people and horses and cats, because it's homeopathy, so it's awesome, and it's actually really effective. So we get through that, and then I said, hey, can we check those things on him, and can we check his teeth? Miraculously, his teeth were completely clean. So the inflammation in the gums and all the tartar buildup were gone. And the 2 pieces that I thought needed to be removed were actually completely benign and inactive and hadn't grown. And we both kind of burst out laughing, because she said this is why he was rejecting the surgery and the anesthesia, because he had already fixed himself. So, him wanting to say I can fix myself can't always be ignored. Some things he can handle and can fix. So, you have to really pay attention to your dog. Is every dog as awake as Baldur? No, it's just like people. Some are more awake than others. This one tends to be incredibly awake. I am not leaving you out of the discussion. I'm not saying you're not awake. Jealousy. So here we went, and Baldur was able to fix himself significantly in this situation. And it's like we kind of have to, every time we work with Baldur, we have to throw everything out the window and listen like it's the first time, because you can't think you know. So what I love about working with Dr. McNeil is she'll tell me it's not him blocking you or your ability. It's the stubbornness of this particular dog that he thinks he can fix himself. And on many occasions, he has been able to fix himself, but on many occasions, he has not. So you can never think you know about your animal. You always kind of have to go to the vet and work with someone like me and do it fresh every single time, because you just don't know what new information there's going to be. So that is his status update. And oh, by the way, he gained a pound. So last time he was 83.2, and now he's 84.9, which is a little more than a pound, but it's great. You know, we always would prefer a little more weight on him because he has absorption issues. You can see like little white eyes looking up at me like, ugh, mommy using me as a case study. And then Thor just, you know, the 3-year-old being pet me, pet me, pet me, pet me, talk about me, please, because I'm also important. Yes, we're going to talk about you in a minute. And you can tell this dog is still a rescue. He's so insecure about where he lives. All right, so now the other update. I want to talk about senior dogs for a second, because Baldur's health and him being a senior dog at this point, a mature dog, is really important. You know, this dog used to go to Montana, West Yellowstone with me and cross-country ski. I would put boots on him and I would put a coat on him because he was born in Massachusetts, but during the summer, and he was raised in Los Angeles and Hollywood. So hot climates, lower elevation. So every time we went up to elevation, a lot of dogs that are born at higher elevations and born in colder climates will get a layer of skin, a layer of fat that'll be under the skin that will last over a lifetime because they're used to insulating or needing to insulate. Thor, as far as we can tell, was raised or born in Texas, and Baldur, you know, same thing. Most of his life has been spent in Hollywood, especially as a puppy. So he didn't have those things. So he did have coat and boots just to protect his feet, because in West Yellowstone, sometimes we were skiing and it was like 10 degrees outside, and that didn't include the wind chill factor. So even though he's a German Shepherd, you have to look at where your animals are raised, what their coat types are like, you know, how much weight do they have on them. And just can't say because you have a German Shepherd, oh, they don't need a coat, oh, they don't need boots. You never know what each individual may need depending on the condition. So because I've always traveled a lot with Baldur, up and down in elevations and everything, you have to take everything into account. New thing I have to take into account. Now, I'm in Oklahoma. It doesn't get that cold, but, you know, it did in the past couple of days. We had snow, 3 inches. I know, no big deal for someone like me who's used to seeing snow at the second level of second story of houses in Montana. But we have to now take into consideration his age, including because he has, you know, a metabolic disorder and an autoimmune disease. So last night, after playing all day outside, having a great time, we didn't put his coat on because he didn't need it at that point. He started sitting in front of me and staring at me. And I went, do you need to go to the bathroom? Because you just went out a few minutes ago. You were fine. And nope, that wasn't it. He didn't even cock his head, just staring at me intensely. And I went, and I heard it. I'm cold. I went, oh, I don't keep my house super hot, but I don't keep it super cold either. It is an older home, so it does get drafty. So I felt the tops of his ears, and they were very cool. They weren't cold, but they were very cool. If I felt Thor's ears are hot, even at the tips, even at that moment. So I went, oh my God, he's cold. So for the rest of the night, inside even, I put his coat on, and I had him, you know, go in and out to do his business before we went to bed with his coat on. And then when we went to bed, he's an East German dog. He comes from lines that are personal protection dogs. So it's just in Baldur's DNA. So we have beds in the bedroom, we have beds in the living room, we have beds in offices, and this dog will travel all through the night reviewing the house, and he'll go from bed to bed to bed, and it's just his way of keeping watch, and it's just the nature of Baldur to do that. So last night I said to him, you're cold, and I'm not going to leave the coat on because I think you're going to get uncomfortable in it trying to sleep. So what I'm going to do is you're going to choose one bed where you can feel like you have control of the house, but you're going to choose one bed, you're going to lay down, I'm going to tuck you in with another blanket, and then I would like for you to stay on that bed the whole night, just for tonight, just, why it's so cold. And I did exactly that, and he looked at me and said, okay, and he did not change beds until 4 o'clock this morning. We usually get up around 4:30, so he got up a half hour before us to review the house, and he was fine. So you've got to keep an eye out for your dogs. Just because you own a dog that has a thicker coat like a German Shepherd, or maybe you don't. Maybe you have a coat a lighter coated dog, with such temperature fluctuations, please be mindful that they do need coats, sometimes even for their feet so they don't freeze, like Baldor's Demodex. Why do I put boots on Baldor? Baldor's Demodex affects his feet. So if you look at the underneath of his pad, he does not have the same hair density that Thor has. He actually has a lot of missing hair in his pads because of Demodex mange. Now remember, folks, for people that don't know the case and are new to listening to me, Demodex there are two types of mange. There's sarcoptic, which is the most commonly known, which is highly contagious, and you find out in the wild. That's where you see the animals, dying of exposure and the disease because they lose their hair. And then there's Demodex mange, which is autoimmune based. Almost no chance of it being contagious. I've never really heard of a live case of it being contagious. It's something wrong with the dog, that the dog's own microbes get out of control, and because he has autoimmune, so he can't, control his body. So they get the Demodex mange, and so we control that in a variety of ways, and that has changed through the years also because of his age. So each year we have to strengthen how we address the Demodex, because each year his system gets a little bit more run down. So never take your dog's health for granted, or your own health. Excuse me. And no, I do not have COVID-19. I sneezed because I have this dog and I have some allergies, and my nose is in him. So I have a little bit of allergies going on today. But as you could tell, Thor is our rescue. He's 3. He is so happy to have a family. He is so thrilled to be a part of our family. And he's so grateful every day for such a young dog. Joy Nadell from Rescue Me Incorporated was our matchmaker. Yes, even me, as good as I am with animals, I get out of my own way and I hire an expert when I need an expert. And Joy in Los Angeles found Thor in Texas, knew I was in Oklahoma looking for a dog because Robert needed a new dog for himself because his dogs had passed away. And she knew Robert, and we talked a lot on the phone about what we would need to be compatible for Baldor, because Baldor is an eccentric, let me tell you. He is the weirdest German Shepherd I've ever met. Even Warren Eckstein, who had to help me with Baldor when I was back in LA, said, he's a little weird, Gabby. So we knew we had like an interesting situation. And we knew we needed some outside help to help matchmake us. And Joy was just so perfect. She was able to matchmake us even from her being in LA, Thor being in Texas at a shelter, and us being in Oklahoma. And it all worked out so beautifully. And we picked him up at at the Oklahoma border. We didn't go into Texas. We stayed in Oklahoma. And we kind of did the halfway point. And while Thor has had some challenges, I know I love you too, big man. You're so smart and handsome. You're so smart. Sure, you're a good boy. While he's had some challenges due to what was done to him, he is the smartest, kindest, sweetest dog. He's perfect for Baldor. They share toys. They don't have no food aggression. We have taught Thor from the start to come from abundance. He's 3 now, and his health issues have had some changes, so we've had to adapt. So just remember, health changes in all people and animals evolve over time. And so you constantly have to be adjusting whatever protocols you do, whether it's for yourself or your pets, taking into consideration their emotional health, their physical health, their energetic health, just like you do with a person, just like I do within my practice. So I wanted to share that with everybody today, and I hope you share this with other people. It's really important to be mindful of your animals during the seasonal changes and as they age, and taking into all the factors that I said to take into account. Thanks again, everybody. This was Connected Live, and you can find me at connectedenergyhealing.com. Thanks, everybody. Say bye, boys. Come on, Thor. Thor's like, no, pet me. All right. Bye, everybody.